comparison.
Welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. And as we do it every time this week, we're going to talk about the round of NRL that's just been played, but we're now well into the semis. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Yeah, well, we're not doing it every time this week.
Well, okay. No one knows that we're doing it Thursday morning and not Wednesday
Well, they
night.
do
But
now.
now you've let them know. Honestly, they just don't.
Sorry,
go with the script.
I'm being a green screen.
And
That's all I got.
I've told Brian never to wear white again because it's clashing. So, for those of you who don't like his white, please say so on Facebook because he feels a bit left out at the moment.
No one would be that hurtful.
Well, they're hurtful about you tipping.
They are hurtful. Stephen Coucher, you're supposed to be a mate of mine. Lots of people picked the Raiders and the Sharks, not just me.
I didn't.
Right.
I picked Parramatta and South. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
All right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it now, Steve. Now.
No. You can't. It's not scripted to talk about now.
What do you want
Tom's
to talk
already
about?
thrown the script out of the window.
However,
What do you want to talk
could I
about?
also throw more of the script out? Today is the National Day of Mourning for Queen Elizabeth, and for those of you monarchists, the Queen is dead. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
There you go. Let's go.
Here's our social conscience.
Yes, let's have a conversation about that off air, shall we?
We could have it on it. We could turn this show into, now that after the football season is over, we could turn it into a social commentary.
Oh, we could.
NRL by Buckingham Palace.
We could talk about a whole bunch of things. We could talk about...
Oh, we could. Let's
The
not.
monarchy by the sidelines.
Let's talk about the football for crying out loud.
All right, let's talk about the... Oh, look, I'm sorry. This probably shouldn't have been put up here. Again, made a mistake of showing a photo.
Small-minded, seriously. Just
Very small-minded. I've got to tell you, very small-minded.
oh, seriously, that is just.
He owns it. He owns the Roosters.
He does.
He owns the Roosters.
He does. I got to tell you,
Not Nick Trell.
I actually find this funny, and I know I shouldn't. But
Look,
I do.
it's funny, but it's pathetic.
Oh, it's not
No, it's
pathetic.
not.
It's a bit of fun.
Let him have his gloat. Souths are like the duddest team in the league. Like,
Yeah,
just let him have his gloat.
because we're only a game away from the grand final,
Yes.
whereas you two
Yeah,
are.
don't
think
So
you
we're
should
the
be saying
duddest
that.
team. in
Right,
the league.
yeah. Hang on, Spoon Boy. You weren't even in the comp, and you still think that you're the longest running club. Like, you got nothing.
We are the longest running club.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Unfortunately, it's the Roosters.
Unfortunately, it's not.
It is.
Anyway, let's
anyway.
move
No,
on.
when you're talking about the
Oh,
longest running
let's
club, it's
move
actually
on.
Newtown.
Here we
It's a
go.
league,
on.
to be honest with you.
All right, what do you got to say, Steve? What's next on your agenda, so that we don't throw you out?
Why are you going to throw me out?
Are we going to talk about the games?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's gone straight.
Mostly-
He's gone straight to the Rabbitohs Sharks game.
Oh, no, I haven't. What happened to the other one? I'm missing a slide. What happened?
He cares that little about the Eels and the Raiders that he deleted the game from his
I
memory.
have no idea what happened. There was a slide there. Oh, I've probably hidden it.
Fair and unbiased is what he
Yeah.
always quotes.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Fair
it.
and unbiased.
So let me just say.
Let's talk about the Eels and the Raiders. Sorry for
Okay.
Eels and Raiders fans. I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
I will eat humble pie.
Okay.
Please
do.
I thought the Raiders were on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that their forward pack would match Parramatta, and they would come into this game fresh, error-free, and absolutely bring it. Turned out, every time the Raiders made an error, Parramatta scored.
Yes.
So Parramatta made the Raiders made 4 errors in the first half, and Parramatta scored 4 tries. I could not believe what I was seeing.
They were running through them very easily. Even though the Raiders were making mistakes, their defence was just not there.
Well, I don't know about that. I just think they just made them pay for the mistakes. Like, Parramatta showed that they were a very clinical, well drilled side, and Mitchell Moses was very good.
Oh,
Wow,
that hurt.
there you go, Steve.
How does that taste coming out of your mouth?
Vile. Now, but is he worth? So apparently, if he takes them to the comp and wins a comp with them, the bonuses in his contract all activate, and he's on $1 million a year. I don't know whether Mitchell Moses is worth $1 million a year. I'm just putting that out there.
I think another club wouldn't pay him $1 million, but I think the Eels would.
I think the Tigers would.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's talk about
well,
that
they'd
as
be
well.
crazy to do it because they fall into the same trap they've fallen into so many times, paying too much money for
No,
players.
but they've paid too much money for players who can't change a game. Mitchell Moses can change a game, and so that's what you pay $1 million for. So if I had $1 million and I had to pay, I wanted to either buy Moses or Tarpany.
Yeah.
I tell you where my $1 million would go. It'd go to Moses, not Tarpany.
Yeah.
As good as Tarpany is.
Well, I was going to say, so that comment came up as well. So, sorry for moving off the game a little bit.
No, we've got plenty of time. We've got nothing else to talk about.
What I mean, we don't want to talk about how bad
we
the
don't
Raiders were.
and we don't want to talk about the next game anyway. So
So I think it depends on what your club needs. So if someone was going to throw $1 million at my club and say, go after anyone you want, it'd be Fisher, Harris or Tarpany. Absolutely. And I think that they'd be worth every cent. You guys have got forwards.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. You've got to look at each club individually. I'm saying the Tigers would quite happily pay $1 million for Moses to go because they need someone like him.
The Tigers would not, but their soon-to-be coach would.
They should. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
He wants to get the band back together.
Let me just tell you, Mitchell Moses left the Tigers in very poor circumstances.
Yes, I know. I understand that.
I don't think... So personally, if I'm at the Tigers and Mitchell Moses is available, I'm not thinking I want him back after the way that he left. And that's...
Well, I mean, Tim Sheens was sacked from the Tigers. A lot of players have been, players and coaches have been...
Mitchell Moses actually came out and said, "Yeah, I don't care. I'm not playing anywhere near as well as I want to or could or want to because I don't want to be here." Like you can't say that. Let your entire team down for a whole year.
Yeah.
And then come back on $1 million a year. I'm sorry, that's disgraceful if they sign him back.
Okay.
So I think the Eels offloading was the key. That's the big part of their game, and they were very good.
Sorry, Tom. The game, yes, the game.
Yeah.
All right, the game.
So I think the Eels were their offloading was on song. I think they broke their game average at halftime. I think in this game, and I think that's key to their game. You know, big forwards up the front. Lots of offloading, confused the defence, and I think they did that exceptionally well.
So where
the Raiders scored basically off an intercept.
okay, but the Raiders weren't just mistakes. I mean, they seemed nervous. They really did. Their defence was lacking, and I mean, Stewart comes out at the press conference and said, "We're a top 4 side if it wasn't for the injuries we had through the year." Well,
yeah, say that to everyone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Every club can say that. Even Titans could say, "Hey, if it wasn't for the injuries we had through the year, we would have been a top 8 side." So
I don't put much stock in what Ricky Stewart says. Seriously,
I guess I'm just trying to understand where the Raiders were so good the week before.
Yeah,
and they beat Melbourne.
Yeah, but it could have been that Melbourne really were bowing out anyway. You know, that might have made the Raiders look better. I don't know.
Maybe.
But you know, whatever the Eels did poorly the week before, they got right this week.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the other thing I don't get. So the Raiders' game plan was all over the place. So Panthers the week before peppered the winger Wanger Blake and Gutherson with these massive bombs and had a great chase.
Yeah, he didn't get one.
And they didn't kick once.
But then again, Gutherson positioned himself where Wanger Blake is.
Yes.
I noticed he took most of the bombs.
But also, they don't have a kicker like Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, but
the Raiders don't.
But a good team's got to find a way to exploit weakness.
Well, we'll see.
But they did kick to his corner a lot, and Gutherson was there.
Yeah,
so I think
we'll see.
They made the adjustment, I think, which is good.
All right, let's move on.
Can I also say, Marata Niokore was a decent forward before, but I tell you what, the Warriors are getting a really quality forward now.
Yeah, I agree.
He had a tremendous game.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the Rabbitohs 38, Sharks 12.
I watched the first half and switched it off half time.
Some football
Just letting
supporter
you know.
you are.
Yep, just letting you know.
And did you watch the second
I really didn't want to watch
Did
the
you watch
Rabbitohs
the
play
replays?
anyway. I watched the highlights, What's the highlights?
So Steve, we're obviously not going to give a unbiased opinion.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Have your minute's worth of fame.
Yep.
I don't think I need to. I think the result speaks for itself.
Did you watch the game?
Several times.
The Sharks had the worst. Sharks had their worst game of the season, I think.
Look, I got to tell you, yes, I don't disagree with that. But I think South played exceptionally well. I think their defence was rock solid. I think it's one of... there was a game
their
a few
defence
weeks
has been
ago.
exceptional the last few
You
weeks.
wouldn't know, you didn't watch it.
I know. I have watched the last few weeks.
Their defence, I can't remember which game it was. I think it might have been the Eels game, where I said I think they had the best defensive display ever, or this year. And I think this one equalled it. They're the only way that Sharks scored 12 points was from 2 intercepts. Or sorry, 1 drop ball, 1 intercept. So, you know, it was exceptionally good defence, and they're going to have to step that up again, even more against the Panthers.
Well, that try they scored on half time with Cameron Murray.
Cameron Murray.
That was just symptomatic, I think, of where the Sharks were at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was just awful. That was just awful. When they scored, then I thought, game's over. That's why I turned it off.
I remember saying a couple of weeks ago that I thought the Sharks were the dark horse for the premiership, and
I think
the way they came into the semis, they were.
No,
but the last two
you know
games,
what? I think the last 2 or 3 games of the regular season, I thought that they scraped through some wins.
Yep.
I don't know that they were.
Well, they had
playing
easy
really
wins.
good
Remember they had that easy run.
I don't think they were playing good football up until then.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'll be honest with you though. If you look at the Rabbitohs, and this is going to pain me to say this, but you look at the Rabbitohs team, and there are individuals in that team that can turn a game.
Yes.
And more than one.
Yep.
So you've got obviously Latrell, Cody Walker,
Cameron
Cam Murray, maybe to a point Damien Cook.
Campbell Graham.
Oh, Campbell Graham. Honestly,
He's a sensational.
I know he doesn't get a lot of love as a centre, but I would have, as I said, 2 years ago, I would have had him in my State of Origin team. I would actually have him as the best centre in the game at the moment.
Is he in the World Cup squad?
No.
He ought to be.
I agree.
He ought to be.
But
So,
we
but-
want
but-
to put everything into Suaalii.
I don't think
He's not a centre.
I don't think Campbell Graham is I think he's hard done by not being in the World Cup squad.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think he's a game changer. Mind you, he was the one who put you in the game last week. His defence
was exceptional.
and he stepped it up every time he needed to.
Yep.
So you look at that. Tell me who the game breakers are for the Sharks. Maybe Nico Hines.
Nico Hines.
Maybe.
So he had an
Matt
ordinary game.
Matt Moylan. Matt Moylan hasn't been a game breaker in 3 years.
I looked at their forward pack.
Finucane?
Not a game breaker.
Yeah, I looked at their forward pack, and they're big boys, but Hamilton Ueli and Toby Rudolph are not game changers. Seriously, they aren't.
No. So I think that's the difference. The only player I reckon in the Sharks team who can change a game is Nico Hines. And if he has an off game,
Yep.
the Sharks are off.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they were the other night.
And he did.
So
yeah.
well done, Rabbitohs. Parramatta and Rabbitohs, far out.
Move on.
Oh, it's a hard life being you, isn't it?
Oh, it's
honestly.
miserable. Football season finished so long ago. Why are we still talking about football? Right.
Because you don't want to talk about social things. All right, so we have gone for 22. Storm, Roosters, Raiders, Sharks.
He has to punch that point home.
Yeah.
I did it last week and I did it the week before.
All you needed to do was leave out Raiders and Sharks because they play the Raiders and Sharks because they're already gone last week. Why did you need to mention them again?
Why are you arguing
Only
with
these
me?
two. Because only the Raiders and Sharks got out last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't feel upset. Can anyone send a box of tissues to Tom, please?
Then
there were 4.
It's his show, man. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's why he puts that stupid Trell thing up.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it again?
No.
No.
All right.
Okay, let's talk. And I've put up the point there, Adam who.
Ooh.
Now, there's been a lot of discussion recently about Adam Reynolds leaving South. There was a lot last year. Everybody bagged out South for letting him go this year.
Vince, he's punching the Rabbitohs bandwagon again.
No.
This is a fair discussion.
It is a fair discussion.
So do we now say that it's still not a good decision, or is it now a smart decision, or where are we at with this? Because this was a big topic of conversation at the beginning of the year.
Let me throw 2 things at you. One, I've already said, Souths have got a dozen game breakers and a solid team.
Yep.
So you can bring in a young halfback
But that's not what you were
No,
saying
no,
at
no.
the beginning of the year.
Well, no, because I didn't think that they were going to go as well as they did. So they've brought him in, and he hasn't had to do anything else other than his game,
Yep.
which is great. The other thing is that I think we're forgetting is that there's been talk out of Brisbane from some of the players that are leaving that it's Adam Reynolds' team.
Yeah, but that's
No. So the point is, it's turned out to be a masterstroke, because if South was still Adam Reynolds' team, would they be where they are? I don't know. There's a bit more ownership from everyone in the team now.
Yes, instead of relying on Adam Reynolds to do it all.
Correct. So I think...
But mind you, South made the grand final last year with Adam Reynolds. So if they don't make the grand final this year, is it a pass or fail?
No, I think you've got to pass this year. I think if you're in the if you've made the final four, then you've probably got to pass.
And made it from 7th spot.
Yeah, it would be. I think from a South's perspective, you'd want to make the grand final, but
Yeah.
you're sitting on the outside and you're going, well, there were lots of people who picked Souths to finish bottom end of the 8 or just out,
See,
and you're now one game away from a grand final.
And this is really interesting because it now justifies Cameron Cronk's Cooper Cronk's
Yeah.
comment where he said Adam Reynolds is not the man to get South to win a grand final.
But I think
Because-
Lachlan
because-
Ilias isn't either though yet.
No, but
But
Souths
they're
have been
building.
Souths have been in the last 5 prelims.
Yep.
Okay, more than any other team bar Melbourne.
Yep.
Now, the problem is that they've only been in a grand final once and lost it. So with Adam Reynolds, they're in 5, made 1, lost it. So it's now starting to see that this was probably a smart thing, and I bagged it out as well. I didn't want him to go. But it's now maybe proving to be the right thing to do for South. And maybe for Adam. Adam's playing exceptionally well in Brisbane.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. I mean, and look, they had to make the decision based on the getting burnt with Sutton. Well, not Sutton. Burgess and Inglis. So you can understand the logic of what they did, but I can understand why the South fans were livid
Angry.
about it. I think Lachlan Ellis has done what he's needed to do this year, and I think he's improved as he's gone along. So good for him.
And his defence
His defence is getting better.
Well, that's what everybody's talking about, his defence. And and that's what I'm saying. When you've got Latrell and Cody and Murray in the team, you can worry about your defence.
right.
You don't have to run a team because those three are going to turn it.
Exactly. All right, Suaalii. Everyone's crying over the fact that Suaalii has decided to play for Samoa. Was he really going to be a number 1 winger for Australia?
I would have
anyway?
been surprised if he'd been chosen as a number 1 winger. I would have been surprised, given the amount of time he spent in the game.
So why are we so upset that in the World Cup year where he can pick to play for his heritage?
I'm
that
not
we're
upset.
Okay.
I'm not upset.
Tell you why I'm upset.
Why are you
And it's
upset?
not about Suaalii, but it's part of the problem. I personally love State of Origin.
Yep.
For me, State of Origin is the pinnacle of what our sport is.
Yep.
Right? State of Origin is as it suggests: New South Wales, Queensland. You were to run through those teams now, and you would have 10 players that are not eligible for that, providing Samoa and Tonga go well,
Yep.
perhaps to Tier 1 level, will not be eligible to play for those teams.
Yep.
Will the NRL have the guts to stick it on the line and say, this game is for New South Wales and Queensland, or will they be wishy-washy and say, we'll let them go?
Well, hang on.
Don't hang on me.
No,
because I'm right on this one.
I understand your point. But a kid, and let's take To'o from Penrith,
Yep.
born in Mount Druitt.
Yep. Exactly.
Technically, he was born in New South Wales.
Correct.
So why can't he play for New South Wales and then play for his...
No.
Well, the question is, should he play for Samoa? Because
Should
he
he
wasn't
play for
born,
Samoa?
Because he wasn't born in Samoa.
The question is, where are you coming from? Are you pledging your loyalty to where you are and where you're born, or is it a heritage issue?
Well, look at Victor Radley. His father's English, so he's decided to play for England, and he's given up New South Wales, which really disappoints me. But maybe in the back of his mind, he knew they had Cameron Murray and Isaiah Yeo in his place.
Never going to play.
He wasn't going to get to play there. But
I find the eligibility disappointing.
Yeah, and look, I don't disagree with you, but
So
it's hard to say to a kid, You've been born in New South Wales, but you can't play for New South
No,
Wales.
you can play for New South
Yes,
Wales.
you shouldn't play for
But then you've
Samoa.
got to play for Australia.
Correct.
Hmm.
There's
And-
that's not unfair. That is what it is for.
And they shouldn't be able to say, okay, I'm never going to get into the Australian team, so I'll play for a heritage team because I wanted to be at the World Cup.
No, I agree. And maybe the solution to it is to make Samoa and Tonga Class 1
Tier
nations.
one?
Tier 1 nations. Well, they're virtually at that
Well,
stage now.
that's right. And that would actually solve that problem.
Because they're going
now
to
they can't come back.
Because they're very likely to be in the top 8 of the final 8 of the World Cup, if not the final 4, which means that they should be then Tier 1 nations.
I mean, I know that the World Cup's coming up, but just a little bit under the radar there. Who would you have as your top 4 teams at the World
Australia?
Cup? Yep.
New Zealand,
England, and I think
Tonga or
probably Samoa.
So what happens if Australia doesn't make it? I'm not because our draw the draw is hard. What happens if we finish 5th and it's Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, and England?
Well, Australia becomes a Tier 2 nation.
Well, no,
But then you'd probably have to have sustained success to be reclassified as a Tier 1 nation.
But you see that's where they need to look at how the game is organised at international level.
I can tell you the NRL will never come out and say you can't play for New South Wales if you're born in New South Wales. But
Well, State of Origin might be done for me because I'm not going to put up with if they're a Tier 1 nation and those blokes like Toho, Crichton, Suaalii,
Paolo.
And the Papali'i and
okay, but
all those blokes come out and just I'm out.
Isn't it about growing the game? Don't we want these nations to be strong?
Yeah,
the only way they're going to be strong is for those players to play for them.
No. Yeah, that's right. We do want them to be strong, but then I don't want them representing me.
But then New South Wales will be much weaker.
Yeah.
And so will Queensland.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of kids. So Campbell Graham can't get a run.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just
I
saying,
think
there's players
if
there
they
ready to step up.
If they do decide to make Samoa and Tonga Tier 1 nations, then you wipe the slate clean and you say, okay, Paolo, all these players, okay, you either play for New South Wales or you play for Samoa.
No.
So you play for New South Wales and Australia or you play for Samoa. Your choice. Here as it is, sign on the dotted line. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
well, anyway, back to my point.
Yeah,
I don't know why we're crying over this because.
Well, you brought it up. I mean,
Well, no,
it's been in the media all week.
the whole week.
Yeah, but nobody's
You don't
crying
watch
about
football
it
anymore, so-
But nobody's crying about it.
They are.
No. Well, I don't see why. Because
Neither
he's
do
had
I.
a brilliant season. He's been one of the best wingers this season, I think. But I think it's too soon to be talking about World Cup.
But I'm not saying
It just
about
happened
his
to happen
quality.
that
I'm
there
not
was a
talking
World
about
Cup
that.
this year.
Given the quality that Australia have in the back line, we quite often have centres playing out on the wings and fullbacks
Right. So
playing
who are your World
centres.
Cup centres for Australia?
Well, you've got Valentine Holmes.
Yep.
You've got
Well, he's a centre.
He's a centre. That's
Yeah.
right. And I would pick Campbell Graham from South.
Yep.
But you've got
So
so
does
many
Josh
others.
Adokar deserve to be in the World Cup
Yes.
as a winger?
Yes.
Okay.
Without doubt.
Who else? Could you have two of them?
Latrell Mitchell.
Latrell Mitchell.
He's a centre.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
all
I'm
right.
saying. Isn't that
So
what
you
we're
put
saying?
Valentine
So
Holmes.
I'm talking about wingers.
No,
Just
but-
talking
but you
specifically
can't-
about
but
wingers.
you can't do that because you then would put Valentine Holmes on the wing and put Mitchell in the centres.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to move Teddy.
Yep.
No.
And
That's
if
right.
Turbo was fit,
Yeah.
we'd be trying to squeeze him in.
Yeah.
So my point is I don't care that Suaalii wants to go and play somewhere else because we've got so many good players in the back line.
And I'm
who would
happy.
miss out because
And I'm
he's
happy.
fit.
And I'm happy.
I know.
Honestly,
I'm not
happy for
arguing
him to
with
play
you.
with South.
I'm arguing with the papers.
As long
Anyway,
as they're tier 2, they're tier 1.
all right, go on
Right.
NRLW.
Yeah. Okay. So last weekend we had 3 games on the Central Coast. It was great watching the 3 games one after the other. Broncos and the Eels. The Broncos and the Eels played a tussle for most of the game, but the Eels came over the top of them, and the Broncos have dropped out of the finals for the very first time in the history of NRLW, which pleases most
Not
people.
winning a game.
Oh no, they did win one game.
Oh, they won
I
one.
think they beat the Titans. I think Eels. Look, the Eels are a better team than they were when they started. By all means, I mean they're gritty and they're gutsy, and I think they're going to be tough next week. Titans and the Roosters. The Titans showed a bit of spirit for a short part of the game, but the Roosters asserted their dominance, and they were missing their halfback. They were missing their fullback, who were rested, and still they had a dominant performance. So that was really good. And they took out the minor premiership undefeated. It's a feat that nobody's actually achieved yet. The Dragons and the Knights, this was seen to be a blockbuster because they were the second and third teams, and yet the Knights they won significantly against the Dragons. So the Dragons have dropped a bit of a peg in the betting, I'd say. Should be a fantastic next week. I'll talk about the games when we talk about the next two games.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, let's go on to the first game on Friday night, which is the Cowboys against the Eels. This should be a cracker of a game in North Queensland.
Yep.
If I say North Queensland, am I a hater still?
No, you're not.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve. I'll tell you why. Not Steve. Steve. I'll tell you why. Steve. I'll tell you why I'm going to pick North Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a week off. It's in Townsville.
Yep.
And they finished second in the comp.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve, or they should, be able to account for the Eels, who have had a tough run,
mm-hmm.
a few losses, playing in the heat, and I'm not convinced of the fitness of a couple of players who apparently are going to be carrying injuries in. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not a hater. I did say Mitchell Moses played exceptionally well last week.
Some good logic for your decision. So that's
all right.
Yep.
And Chad Townsend is going to bomb the heck out of Wagner Blake.
Oh yeah.
Right,
Tom.
I mean, everything points to a Cowboys win, but I've been on the Eels for the last few weeks since the Roosters went out, and I know that makes Ryan really happy. But I'm gonna say if the Eels can be consistent, which they've not been all year, that they can win this game. They showed enough last week to show that if they can play the game that suits them, the offload game, the mix up the defence game, I think they've got enough points, but it's going to be really tight because I know the Cowboys can score points. Now the Eels can score points. It'll come down to whose defence is better, and also how much the weather conditions influence the game, I think. But I'll be on the Eels.
Stephen?
I'm actually on the Cowboys for two reasons. Number one is that it's a home game for the Cowboys.
Yep.
And, they're going to have 90% of their fans at the stadium, which is good luck to them. I don't agree with it, but good luck to them.
What would you rather have happen?
I think it has to be more balanced.
Yep.
And your other reason?
The fact that Parramatta can't really consistently put games together. They put an exceptional game together last week. They were terrible the week before. They put an exceptional game together the week before that. I think they won their last two. They're inconsistent, and I don't know which Parramatta team is going to turn.
The only difference, I think, is that they haven't been this close in 10 years. And I think that could change their mindset.
But it could make them panic.
The other thing about the crowds, which Dan Ganane was commentating last week on Friday, and he said, I just looked up the flights at halftime, and a trip to North Queensland was something like $600.
Yep.
He checked it at full time, it was $1,500. I mean, it just, honestly, how do they look themselves in the mirror, the people who organise these flights and things? Because, seriously, how do Parramatta fans hope to get and support their team?
Well, they're driving right now. There's a convoy of thousands and thousands of vehicles.
Well, good. They're good for them because
it'll be cheaper to buy an airfare.
They said an Uber would cost $3,600 to get an Uber from Sydney to
this is my problem. I think if you're going to do it, at least it should have been played in Brisbane.
Yeah.
To at least give Parramatta fans the opportunity. It's a 2-day drive to get to North Queensland. It's only a 1-day drive to get there.
Oh, who cares?
Oh, if it was Manly, you'd be screaming about it.
If it was Manly, I would have bought tickets weeks ago.
You would not. You would not. All right, next game, Panthers and the Rabbitohs. I don't know why I'm going to bother asking you guys who you think are going to win, because I know you're going to go to the Panthers.
The first thing that surprises me, and I understand crowds, but how does the minor premiers who got a week off have to play at South's home ground?
I agree.
How does that work? I don't get that. Pure luck.
Because their stadium can't fit 50, 60,000 people.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
But it's always been.
Well,
it's
they should have
always
played a
been
comeback
through the
at the very
semis.
least.
That, no,
Yeah,
you
I
play
agree.
your home
You play
game,
a
you play
comeback.
your home game, you play a
I'm not
regional.
listening to him anymore.
I know
No,
you're not
it's- no,
listening
it's so
because
wrong.
there's no point.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about anyway.
I tell you, if the Panthers were out at out the middle of Whoop at Mudgee or something, it'd be at Mudgee, because
Huh?
it's the same as if it was at if it's at Townsville.
Yeah,
I think the Panthers
Yeah.
have been ripped
Panthers
off.
gonna win?
Absolutely.
You saying
Absolutely.
Panthers are going to win?
Panthers will win.
I think the Panthers
tough
will
game.
win. I think the Panthers will win for a couple of reasons. All right, Nathan Cleary's kicking game. I think he's going to isolate Latrell.
Yep.
I think Phil Gould was right. I think Latrell looks for easy options when he's returning the ball.
Yep.
Like Tom's mentioned it, genius Tom, a dozen times. He doesn't bring the ball back. He flicks it out to the wingers or the centres.
The Roosters had the right game plan the first week.
Because he saves himself to inject himself at the right moment.
Correct.
And
In
I
the 20.
think that Nathan Cleary's kicking game will
Expose that.
attempt to isolate him.
Yeah.
So I like that. The Panthers have had a week off.
Yep.
They're going to be fired up for the stadium change because they should be playing at home because they're the minor premiers.
No, they shouldn't be.
Now, South should win because the Panthers have had a week off and Souths have been playing consistently well. I think Havali is going to hurt them. I think he's been exceptional
He has,
coming
really
off the
has.
bench. Like potential there that I have never seen before. He's been unlocked. But Souths can win because if Penrith don't get it exactly right, Souths will make them pay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
So
I
they've got to-
am
they've got
on the
pressure.
Panthers just.
They've got to pressure Cleary. So two things have to happen. So Cleary got pressured in State of Origin. They'll have to learn from that South. The Roosters, in the first game against the Rabbitohs, pressured Latrell and took him out of the game. The Panthers have to be on.
Yep.
The thing for the Panthers is they've played one game in three. The thing against the Panthers is they played one game in three.
Yeah, I know. Could be a
So-
blessing or a
So it
curse.
could be a blessing.
And no
or a
one can
curse.
ever decide whether that's a good thing or a bad
No,
thing.
that's right.
Yeah, it's different.
So, but I think given the professionalism and the commitment that the Panthers have had this season, I reckon that
Right.
could really count in their favour.
I think you're wrong.
Right.
They rested everyone against Townsville, against North Queensland. They've played one game in the last month.
Yeah, they have.
Oh.
Yeah, and towards the back of the game, that might be
Possible.
quite telling.
Possibly.
All right.
I actually, obviously, I'm going to pick South. I'm mildly confident.
Okay. What fears you? What is the biggest fear then?
The biggest fear is Cleary's kicking game.
Right. So we all agree that that's the key.
Let's say the last time South played, it was 20 against the Panthers. It was 22-all with 2 minutes to go until they scored that try. I know South can match them. My problem is if they get enough people in on Cleary. Now, they get enough people in on Cleary, that leaves gaps on either side.
Yeah.
And he's smart enough to say, well, okay, I can see a gap over there, so I'm not going to kick, I'm going to pass.
And let's face it, Luai can run that ball.
Yeah,
And that's the other thing is-
But it's, and I've said this before, the Penrith blockers get in the way.
They all.
It's their job.
No, they step in the way. And I've seen it quite a few times. Well, and Tom gave away earlier that the show's being done on Thursday morning. If you look at today's paper, there's a big story about it.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah? I read the paper. I didn't see it.
You didn't read
Because
the right
no
paper.
one reads about Souths.
You
Yep.
didn't read the right paper.
Continue. Yes.
So that and I think the Souths are quite smart to bring this up today, although they have said they haven't put an official complaint. But Klein will be watching the blockers, and honestly, they put so many blockers there. I'd have South players running into them and falling, and Pratt falling almost.
Of course you
You
would.
can bet it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
They are sponsored by.
Well, they
Milk.
lay down, so
Yeah.
they might
That's right.
Yeah, they
Why not?
swan
If the
dive.
rules are there to
They might as well
say,
play soccer.
Yeah.
Seriously.
if the rules are there to say you can't block and they block,
That would be why there's so many South Sydney supporters. They're all soccer supporters. They fall down.
Yeah.
All right. I've just insulted a whole bunch of other people who listen to the
Yeah.
show.
So stop Trell Milk, and you've got the
Yep.
game.
all right. Anyway, I'm on the Bunnies. You two are on Panthers.
Yep.
Sucks to be you because you're
And
going to lose.
we're on the Cows and he's on Parramatta.
Yep.
All right.
That's
So you see, it's unbiased. Like I've just happened to choose one different from both of you.
All right,
NRLW games. Got to talk about them.
we did.
It's the semis. This is the semis Sunday.
Oh, I thought we were talking about that.
No,
All
I
right,
didn't
go
talk
back.
about it.
Go on.
So the Knights play the Dragons. So it's a replay of last week, or rematch of last week. Sorry. I think the Knights will account for them again. The Knights will go through to the grand final. Roosters and Eels. Look, this is going to be tighter than expected. Last year, the the Roosters fell into the finals and unexpectedly beat the Broncos to go through to the grand final. This could happen again. The Eels could do the same thing to the Roosters. So the Roosters are going to have to be on form to play. But I see Knights and Roosters winning these games.
Yeah. I did see someone on Facebook say that the Parramatta are the only team to have the men's and women's in the preliminary final to play for the grand final.
Yep.
I thought that's a little bit unfair considering the season only finished with the ladies last week and it's only one game to get in. You can't. Anyway.
Sure.
All right, let's go on to footy tips. I think Brighton 75 has it wrapped up.
Back in the top 10, baby.
I forgot to put my tips in again.
Excuse.
Well, season finished.
He's the manager.
Season finished 10 weeks ago. I can go back and change all my tips if you like.
Yeah, that's right.
Brighton St Mick, McRoosters, Isidore, Gordon the Scot, Omega Panthera, Keenaz, Penny Proud, Chooks Rule, and Bronco for Life are the top 10. I'm declaring Brighton 75 will win it. There's only 3 games to go, and he's 6 points in front.
Yeah, 3 games.
Unless he fails miserably.
Yeah, St Mick, it's your only chance is to get everything right, and he gets everything wrong.
Yeah, because is it still 4 bonus points if you get both right?
No.
I don't know.
No, it's not.
You should know. You're the manager.
Well,
no, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not.
I don't know.
Okay.
It was. You must have changed it. Or
Yeah, you might have
changed
whinged about it.
I did. I whinged about it. Yeah, well, you can't get 2 games on the weekend, get them right, and get bonus
Rabbitohs
points.
whinge. This sort of goes
Yeah,
together.
it does, doesn't it?
There's a nice ring to it.
Oh, you're just jealous. You know, jealousy is a curse.
Well, go drink some milk.
And I love it. I hope we become a milk sponsor. I truly do. Listen, do you want to put this other... No, I won't. All right. Anything intelligent you want in the show with?
I would like to say this before the show finishes. Those people out there that are trying to white ant my club, go away.
But Desi's got another 12 months, you keep saying.
Go away.
Desi has to 24, you keep saying.
Well, now
it's not true.
Now there's some people coming out and saying that's not true. There are some well-known, high-flying former players that are still involved with the club or on the peripheral that are wide-ending my club. Go away. Keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah, I agree.
They're
dragging us down to the mud. It's
I could
horrible.
swear right now I'm that angry about it. So you got a club like the Roosters. This is where Sam Vrels is leaving.
Yep.
All right. I guarantee he didn't want to leave.
No.
I guarantee he wanted to stay.
Yep.
The only thing that's come out is we've signed Brandon Smith. We're letting him negotiate early. He's going to the Titans. That's it. Where's the white ant at their club saying, I didn't want to go. The Roosters suck. Sack the coach.
It's because they're not true.
Well, that's right. It's not true at my club either, except for that anyway.
Except that
makes me
Manly
so angry.
had a very poor end of the year. They never made the semis, where the Roosters played well. They made the semis.
Anyway, I just want to say,
All right,
haters gonna hate. Don't eat your own.
Tom, anything you want to end the show with?
No, that was enough. That's good. Well done.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. This is NRL from the Sidelines. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and we'll do it all again next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
See ya.